What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and while I have a lack of patience, and I'm going to be honest with you, I really do. I wanted to do this archetype video and then forgot that archetype videos take a long process in timing of things, and I kind of have no patience for either one. But I did want to at least attempt to do this because there was one particular archetype that I do want to do a video on, because this archetype has been very, very resourceful to not only my Harpie decks, but just for Winged Beast players as well. And that is for Simorgh. Yeah, Simorgh. You know, that bird that was on the structure deck that we never got our structure deck for? Yeah, that's what we're going to be taking the focus of. Simorgh, known as that name in the OCG and TCG, is derived from the Persian mythos of Simorgh. They are basically the phoenix, the Persian version of the phoenix. They are dressed in beautiful garments of jewels and have crowns, like any deity would, and have a giant halo on their back, not on their head. As these birds are, well, depicted as the phoenix in Persian culture. Their whole shtick was that they're able to just be elegant and beautiful, and when they fall, they rise once again. For the sanity that I have of myself, I'm not going to go over every card with longevity of where they are, what they've been, how they've been, but I'm going to give you the justification of it. Most of these monsters were split up through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Timeline. Their first release was in Lord of the Storm structure deck in the TCG and OCG, with the cover monster Simorgh, Bird of Divinity. Later on, we received support in the TCG and OCG combined through the sets of Light of Destruction, Rising Rampage, and Battles of Chaos. For those here in the TCG, we received similar little support within the sets of Stardust Overdrive and Dual Overload. While in the OCG, they received theirs via V-Jump promo 2008, 2009, as well as Linked Frames Pack 3. Now, with all of that said, I'm just going to be honest. It's going to be a very long video, and I want to try to do my best to at least try to keep this under 20 minutes. So bear with me. So I'm going to have to cut out a lot of fluff, which sucks because there's so many things to explain because of how much of an impact that this archetype had. Because at the time, there weren't any major big winged beast monsters, especially not any in terms of wind. Well, actually, no, there really wasn't. Not until after Simorgh and the Simorgh archetype was started to build itself up. Not to mention, it took a long period of time for the Simorgh archetype to be a thing, because funny enough, we didn't receive a major wave of Simorgh cards till Rising Rampage in 2019. Yeah, took it almost 10 years since the last support was released, which was Dark Simorgh in the TCG, and literally over 11 years since the release of Simorgh, Dark Simorgh in the OCG, which even then, that was literally what, 2006 when Lord of the Storm structure that came out in TCG and OCG. So literally 13 years later, after the release of Lord of the Storm, where Simorgh actually got a large wave of support. Thanks, Konami. We know you hate wind. We can definitely see it. Anyway, I'm going to just go right through these monsters, and bear with me because I got a lot to say. So we're going to start off with, of course, the monster that led off the archetype, Simorgh, Bird of Divinity, known in the OCG as Divine Bird Simorgh. It's a level 7 wind attribute winged beast type monster with 2700 attack and 1000 defense. The effect reads, this card cannot be special summoned. If this card is tribute summoned, the tributes must all be winged. When this card is face up on the field, during the end phase of both players' turns, the players take 1000 points of damage. This damage can be reduced by each respective player for the number of spells and trap cards that player controls. Simorgh, Bird of Divinity makes several appearances in some Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games, primarily Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2009, where it's a tag duel partner with Simorgh, Bird of Ancestry. It's featured in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga structure decks, where the main protagonist used a deck built from Lord of the Storm, as well as cards from Rising Rampage. Then, it was also featured in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, being used by, funny enough, Harpie's brother, who got his name changed here in TCG to Sky Scout, and in the OCG he's known as Birdman, using the tactics of what the structure deck itself was made for by manipulating your own back row to keep you from taking damage while making sure that your opponent took damage by getting rid of their own. Unfortunately, Harpie's brother lost out to Jaden Yuki as Simorgh, brother Divinity, was defeated by Winkaribo level 10. Alright, moving on from that, we're now going to go through the monsters. We have Simorgh, Bird of Ancestry, known in the OCG as Divine Bird of Ancestry, Simorgh. This is a level 8 wind attribute Wingabeast type monster with 2900 attack and 2000 defense. Both players' tribute summon of a wind monster requires one less tribute than needed. When you discard a tribute summon by using only wind monsters, you can return up to 2 cards your opponent controls to the owner's hand. While this card is in your hand, it is treated as a normal monster. This card was released in the TCG OCG core set, Light of Destruction. The next monster up is Simorgh. Well, Dark Simorgh. This is a dark attributed winged beast type monster, level 7 with 2700 attack and 1000 defense. This card face up on the field is a wind attributed monster. You banish one wind and one dark monster from your graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. You can then banish one dark and one wind monster from your hand to special summon this card from the graveyard. While this card is face up on the field, this card is treated as a While this card is placed on the field, your opponent cannot set cards. Dark Simorgh was first released in the OCG via the V-Jump promo in 2008. It took it over a year and a half later to be released in the TCG via a OCG import for Stardust Overdrive. Next up is Simorgh, Bird of Beginnings, one of the newer Simorgh monsters that were released in Rising Rampage. This monster is a level 1 wind attribute winged beast type monster with 0 attack, 1600 defense. Just for the remainder of the next few cards, these lower level Simorgh monsters have an ability that if your opponent does not have any cards in their spell and trap card zone, you can special summon them from the graveyard, but they are banished when they leave the field. Simorgh, Bird of Beginnings has the ability that when it's normal summon, you can gain the additional normal summon of a Simorgh monster in addition to your normal summoner set this turn. Simorgh, Bird of Beginnings is also known in the OCG as Divine Bird of Beginnings, Simorgh. This is basically just a small petite variation of Simorgh, Bird of Divinity. Ain't it cute? The next monster up is Simorgh, Bird of Bringings, known in the OCG as the Divine Bird of Summoning, Simorgh. When this monster is normal summoned, you can add one Simorgh monster from your deck to your hand instead of a Simorgh, Bird of Beginnings. You can only use this effect of Simorgh of Beginnings once per turn. This monster has 1000 attack, 1000 defense, and carries the same color motif as Simorgh, the Bird of Ancestry. Next, we have Simorgh, Bird of Calamities, known in the OCG as Simorgh. Known as Divine Bird of Endings, Simorgh. This level 3 wind attribute winged beast type monster with 1500 attack and 200 defense has the effect that when this card is normal summon, you can send one Simorgh card from your deck to your hand. From your deck to the graveyard, except for a copy of itself. This monster carries the Darkest Phoenix, and funny enough, is one of the few of the Simorgh monsters to have its ring broken in the background. Next up is Simorgh, Bird of Protection, known as Divine Bird of Protection, Simorgh. Level 4 wind attribute winged beast type monster, 1400 attack, 1000 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can select one card in your opponent's spell attack card zone and return it to their hand. This one is the only one in the archetype that is actually fully purple, but still carries on the same crown as the original Simorgh. You also notice in this card's artwork that it has additional feet, which are in the shape of paws and not talons. Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing that the Simorgh archetype has this little gimmick to themselves, that they also have canine appendages, and some of them may even have a canine as face too. Then from there, we have the monster release and Battles of Chaos. Simorgh, Bird of Perfection, known in the OCG as Divine Bird of Execution, Simorgh. This is a level 4 Dark Attribute Wingy Beast type monster with 1800 attack and 500 defense. Its effect reads that while this card is face up on the field, it is a wind attributed monster. You can only use each of the following effects of Simorgh Bird of Protection once per turn each. The first effect is when you normal summon a Wingy Beast type monster. Immediately after this effect, you reveal this card from your hand, and immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one Simorgh monster from your hand. When this card is normal summoned, you can send one Simorgh monster from your deck to the grave, to then search your deck for one Simorgh spell or trap card and add it to your hand. This is the only low level Simorgh monster in the series that actually carries the attribute of dark. It was only for a while, it was only for a period of time, because most of the others were all high level winged beast monsters that were level 7 or higher. Speaking of level 7 or higher, we're going to go back to Rising Rampage to introduce ourselves to two more big Simorgh monsters. Simorgh, Lord of the Storm, and Simorgh of Darkness. Simorgh, Lord of the Storm is a level 8 wind attribute wingy beast type monster with 2900 attack, 2000 defense. While its counterpart, Simorgh of Darkness, known in the OCG as Darkness Simorgh, is also a level 8 wingy beast type monster with 2800 attack and 2000 defense. But while it's face up on the field, it is given the attribute of wind. Simorgh Lord of Storm has two effects that you can only be activated once per turn each. Sorry, I'm skipping one line. When your opponent cannot target this card, distribute summon monster with spells, traps, or effects. Now, each of its following effects can be used once per turn each. When a spell, trap, or an effect is activated, quick effect, you can tribute one wind wingy beast monster you control to then target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. The second effect is when a wingy beast monster you control destroys a battle while this card is in your graveyard, you can add it to your hand. Simorgh Bird of Darkness. It triggers a wind monster while it's face up on the field, and you can use each of its following effects once per turn each. When the tribute summon of a wind or dark monster has happened, you can special summon this card from either your hand or a graveyard. And if you then, when a spell, trap, or effect is activated, you can quick effect tribute one wind wingy beast monster you control to negate the activation and destroy it. Both of these monsters are upgraded versions to not only Simorgh Bird of Divinity, but some Dark Simorgh itself, while carrying the same level, type, and attack and defense as Simorgh Bird of Ancestry. We then move on to the only extra deck monster this archetype has, and that is Simorgh, Bird of Sovereignty, known as the King of Birds, Simorgh. This monster points bottom left, bottom right, for 2400 attack, and a length 3 monster, when attribute Winged Beast. Now, it requires 2 or more monsters, including a Winged Beast monster, for its summon. This card cannot be used as link material. Your opponent cannot target this card or monsters this Winged Beast monsters this card points to with card effects. If a Simorgh monster was to be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one other Simorgh card you control to the graveyard. You can during the end phase of either player's turn, you can special summon one Winged Beast type monster from your deck or hand to the field, whose level is equal to or less than the total number of unoccupied spell or trap card zones on the field. You only use this effect of Simorgh Bird of Sovereignty per turn. Simorgh Bird of Sovereignty is the only Simorgh monster in the archetype to be affected by the Forbidden Limited list in the TCG, as it's banned here in the TCG. The reason for this banning is because this monster was extremely powerful and had a lot of combos to it that kept basically players from that allowed players to play around with certain cards to make sure it was able to be summoned. One of the things was that dinosaurs had a way to link summon to this monster by using a monster known as Brachiosaur, which was a link monster, to change the typing of another monster that it pointed to. So because it was a link to monster, you can just change the monster that you would such summon that it points to a wind monster, and it says will summon it. The next card that also got linked to this monster and got forbidden was Union Carrier. Union Carrier was a link to machine type light attributed monster that once a turn you can special summon you can target a monster you control and special summon and place a monster from your deck that shares either the same attribute or type as that monster and set it in the spell and trap card zone, equipped to it as an equipped spell, and then it would gain 1,000 attack points. Now, why does that sound like something that would be dreadful? Well, remember Simorgh's ability to special summon a winged beast monster from your deck to the field at the end phase, at either player's end phase, whose level is equal to or lower than the total number of unoccupied spaces? Well, there's a monster known as Mist Valley Apex Avian, and a monster known as Mist Valley Thunderbird. And if you remember the old combo, Thunderbird was the material that you use for Apex Avian to bounce back once per chain to then negate the activation of a spell, trap, or monster effect. So in combination with some more, with that combo there, you're able to activate the Union Carrier, equip the Thunderbird to Simorgh, then at the end phase special summon Mist Valley Apex Avian on the first turn, and then you would have a way of instant negation. Yeah, it was that nasty. Then the other monster that also got banned in this trio was Barrier Statue of the Stormwind, who, while it was on the field, neither player can special summon monsters except for wind monsters. So just like the other barrier statues, they're they're all exclusive to their attribute. The barrier statue of fire, wind, fire, water, earth, light, and dark. Well, wind tended to be the focus of the forbidden as they hit the barrier statue of storm winds because most decks were cheating out that storm wind due to the effects of a fuck ton of cards. And even at the point where they had already banned some more, they figured, well, let's just ban the barrier statue in TCG. Because, why? Floowanderees were able to summon the monster even if they didn't have to special summon, and that caused a lot of grief there, so they ended up banning the barrier statue of the Stormwind. Yep, that was the thing. So this monster unfortunately sits on the Forbidden Limited list in the TCG, and while many Winged Beast players have their fingers crossed hoping that the next list at the time of this recording brings this bird back into the fray, we're literally saying we're okay if they, keep the barrier statue banned, but at least give us back our bird of sovereignty. Hell, I'm asking for it. We have some spells and traps to support Simorgh, and they start off with Simorgh's field spell. This is Ibores, the sacred lands of Simorgh, known as the divine peaks of Simorgh, Ibores. This card's effect reads that all winged beast type monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. You can only use each of the following effects of this card's name once per turn each. The first effect is that you can reveal one wind attribute winged beast type monster. One level 5 or higher wind attribute winged beast type monster from your hand to then gain the to normal summon a winged beast type monster. No, to summon a winged beast monster from your hand with one less tribute, even if this card leaves the field. Then, if you control a winged beast monster, immediately after this card's effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast type monster. This card is the current and only field spell for the Simorgh Archetype. And what a way to create extensions and setups for the archetype itself. Featured in this card's artwork is, ironically enough, Simorgh, Lord of the Storm. Next is Simorgh's Onslaught. You can discard one Winged Beast monster from your hand to add two Simorgh monsters with different attributes from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard to then reveal one Winged Beast monster in your hand. And if you do, reduce the level of Winged Beast monsters that share the same name as that monster by one for the rest of the turn, even if you summon that monster. You only activate one Simorgh's Onslaught per turn. This is basically just a rota for the archetype in being able to discard a monster to then to search out for the others. Now that you have multiple dark Simorgh monsters, you're able to add them to your hand and be able to continue your plays from there. The next card up is Simorgh's Repulse. This is a normal spell card that discard one Winged Beast monster from your hand to return all of your opponent's spell and trap all cards in your opponent's spell or trap card zone to their hand. And just like Simorgh's Onslaught, you can banish this card from the grave to reveal a Winged Beast monster in your hand to reduce the level of all monsters that share the same name as that monster in your hand by one. Then, you only activate this effect once per turn. This card's name once per turn. So yeah, they got a one-sided Trunade and another way to cheat out their monsters to reducing their level. Then from there, we have the only trap card in Simorgh Archetype, which is Simorgh Sky Battle, which is known in the OCG as Simorgh Stormforth. Winged Beast monsters you control cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects or their monsters' attacks, except for the Winged Beast monsters with the highest attack. You can send this card from your graveyard to your graveyard. Oh, if this card is sent to the graveyard, this card and two Simorgh monsters you control with different attributes, whose original levels are 7 and higher. Return as many cards on the field to the owner's hand as possible. On the field to the hand as possible, and if you do, take 500 points of damage for each card returned to the hand. Then inflict damage equal to your opponent equal to the damage you took. You only use this effect of Simorgh Sky Battle once per turn. So basically, this was just a protection effect for your Simorgh monsters, and forcing your opponent to target monsters that most likely cannot be targeted thanks to their own abilities. But in this card's artwork, you see the battle between both light and you see Simorgh Lord of the Storm and Simorgh of Darkness. Yeah, time to vanquish those inner demons. Anyway, this is pretty much it for the Archetype video. I had to keep it short because I had to maintain some sanity. But there's a lot of things to talk about with the Simorgh Archetype, and I'm just happy enough that we have an Archetype to play, that we had to support our Winged Beast brethren. Like I said, the only thing that I ever want to finish is that all of the monsters in the archetype be playable, and at least have the monster Simorgh Lord Resolving Key come back. Fingers crossed. But with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up this archetype video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I have some more videos and content coming up with this beautiful bird of Divinity, so stay tuned for them. If you guys like this content, leave a like, always, comment and subscribe because it helps out this channel. And if you do need to know, hit the notification button so you guys can be informed when I upload more content to the channel. My social media links are in the description box below. And with that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. HBJ signing out. Take care.